Alright, here's another video I've been wanting to shoot that has also been a little while longer coming than I expected. I got one, and I had it for a day, and I played with it, and I enjoyed it, and I had it sitting on the table, and then Valkyrie came in and jumped up and knocked something on the table, which popped one of these pieces off right here on the back, this little heel piece. Just this piece popped off, fell on the floor, and she chewed it up. So I ordered a new one. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one. The other one is pretty much entirely complete, just with this little piece chewed up a little bit. I may hang on to it and just use it for spare parts in case anything ever breaks on this one. So I managed to get a second one. And now I can review it. This is the VF-31J from Macross Delta, the DX Chogokin from Bandai. This is Hayate Immelman's plane. As you can see, it's the 5, it's blue and white, and it's kind of the hero mech of the series. What is the hero mech of Macross Delta? Cockpit opens, and you can see there's Hayate, Sans helmet, and Freya. They're sitting in the back seat. Well, Freya is just kind of a generic little figure with a helmet on, and I think it's the same figure for Kaname that comes with Messer's plane. But you can take her out. She doesn't come. Neither one of them comes sitting in the thing. They're molded. They're molded solid piece pilots, but fairly decently painted for such tiny miniatures. And when you actually get the plane, this seat folds down. If you don't want to have a co-pilot or somebody else in the plane, you fold this down, put this little piece in here. Should cover it all up, and then you close the cockpit back up. Entirely up to you how you want to do it. I like to keep them both in the plane, but that's just me. Mostly because, like I said, I watched the show. I like both the characters. And what's cool is Niblet actually watched it with me. She's gotten into a lot of anime lately. She's real big into Hatsune Miku and things like that. And so anime that focused around singing idols and flying jet robots was right up both our alleys, so we watched it together, and I was really happy with that. So it means a little bit more to me than some of the other Macross series because I watched it with my daughter, and we both really enjoyed it. Anyway, so here's the jet mode, and you also get the little full drones, a little fly, in both their deployed and undeployed states. There's their square undeployed, and then with the wings flipped out, looks kind of like a old B-1 bomber, B-2 bomber, not B-1. And those deploy from back here on the jet. And you can actually open this up. And you can see there's a bunch of the folded up drones hiding there in the back of the jet. You can do that on both sides. I'm just going to show off the one. So yeah, but here he is. There's the landing gear. The other thing you get a bunch of hands, which we'll go over in bot mode, or in Guardian mode, Batroid mode. I'm just mixing up my terminology, and somebody's going to yell at me for it. But you get the instruction manual, as well as the kind of standard stand set for jet, for fighter, Gearwalk, and Batroid mode. And it doesn't have the SMS logo, but aside from that, it's the same kind of stand that you've been getting since at least the Frontier Valks. Maybe even before that. I specifically remember them from the Macross Frontier Valkyries, Messiahs. So, but aside from, unless you're doing it, I tend to display mine in Batroid mode. So, and this one has ratcheting hips. Spoiler alert. So it's actually much more sturdy. So you don't really need the stand to display them. So I haven't pulled it out, but it works just like all the old ones. Maybe I'll show it off at some point. I don't know. There's 5 of these at least to get, so I'm sure at some point we'll see them. But yeah, here he is in jet mode. Like I said, you've got the landing gear here, and the opening cockpit, and then the little drones storing back here. You can tilt the feet a little bit. You can open these up a little bit if you want to make it look like the thrusters are articulating. These fins back here do come off. They're intended to. I guess that's to avoid breakage. Sometimes when they're all snapped in, sometimes if you bring them up too high this way, they're supposed to sit at an angle, and if you bring them up too straight, it'll automatically start to pry that tab out just from the leverage, so you may have to snap it back in. Just something to keep an eye out for. But yeah, the landing gear, you fold just up into there, and you can close those up. And then here, you need to rotate these wheels down. And a lot of times the little rubber wheel likes to pop off. It's not all the way off because it's wedged in there, but it does like to start to come off. This one especially, on this one, off the little hinge. But you fold those in and fold those up like that. And then you've got like a very nice smooth underside of the jet. That's one of the things I love about these jet designs, is because like there's really nothing here that I mean, like, unless you really look at these and say those are feet, there's nothing in the jets in the last few Macross lines that really belie them as being transformable in jet mode, in fighter mode. And see, and then this even has the integrated gun pod under here. Like, you don't have a separate little piece that you had to pin and wedge between the legs. It's integrated into this whole thing because it's an upgrade. If you remember my review of the YF-30, this is basically the same basic transformation. It has the forward swept wings versus just the wing tips that the 30 did. And some other changes. There's a few upgrades and improvements that have been made to that basic transformation, but it's all still there. This was a missile pod, a solid missile pod on the YF-30, and now it's become like a gun pod that opens up and splits onto the backpack instead of just being one solid chunk, which is actually really neat. But yeah, so there is fighter mode. Very slick, very cool, very streamlined underneath. You can't pop these vent covers off if you want to see the fans. I'm usually not that big of a stickler for it. I usually just leave these in place. But if you want to, you can do that as well. So let's go ahead and start getting him from fighter mode to gearwalk mode. And that just involves, you want to lift this up like this, which will untab the wing from the leg there. See, it's pegged in right there in those slots. Same on this side. And you can go ahead and start to bring the legs down like this. Bring these forward and extend these and open them up. Same over here. Extend the foot, open it up. You can actually rotate these out a little bit too as well. So there we've got, make sure this locked. These do like to, like I said, it wasn't hard for Valkyrie to do it. These do like to pop off. They're just on this teensy tiny little ball joint back here on the back of the foot. So there we got standing jet here. It's just a matter of getting it to stand up. There we go. Up. And we'll bring this up a little bit. Then the arms, again, you lift back here. There's some panels. We'll go fine. You go ahead and do that. There's some panels on the wings here. You can see that there is the hand hiding up in here. And this whole assembly comes out. Same over here. You bend this forward. And here's where you want to be careful because it's a dual hinge here. And sometimes it gets really tight. If one hinge goes first, it'll get really tight. And so like you're supposed to be able to bend it a pretty decent amount, but you don't want to go too far. But it gets a little scary because it's a thin little piece. But yeah, bring those forward like that. Let's get all this snapped back together. Pull that out, rotate it down. And pull the arm out, rotate it down. Lift it up a little bit. Re-snap this all together so the legs stay attached. Put the fins here. And then the arms themselves, we'll straighten all this up in a minute. So you can see here's the hand, it's kind of hanging off to the side. You bring it forward, you bring this whole assembly around and snap it on, fold this back, rotate, bring the arm forward, fold this down, and at some point you want to rotate this whole arm assembly. Oh, like this, okay. No, wrong way, okay, and then rotate it around like this, like that, okay. Basically you want the hand to come out, this to be on the underside, and then this piece to fold down. Two knives store under these panels, which you can have the jets hold. Jets have knives. Dun, 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 dun. Kind of metal. Anyway. So I'll pin that back on. But yeah, those just store under there. These are machine guns that can flip out. You can shoot them from like underarm machine guns. The arms, like the hands, do have some articulation. The thumb's on a ball joint. The first finger moves. It's one solid piece. There's no mid joint knuckle, which is a bit of a shame because the rest of the hands have a mid joint knuckle as well as this. And if this one did, I'd be super stoked because then I could leave these hands on and be happy with it. But alas, like this is one of the few Valkyries that really kind of requires hand swapping through the various modes, more so than anything previous. And you know, it's a small price to pay, but it would have been nice if you didn't have to pay it at all, like so many prices. Yeah, bring all this down and around. So yeah, bring his arms down. You can bring the guns forward if you want. This should snap into place here. There we go. And then, like, and as I was talking about earlier, this whole assembly comes up through here like this. And instead of becoming a missile pod, let me bring this up just a little bit more. Like I said, on the YF-30, it just, you open up some little panels on both the front and the back, and it had some little missile bays. This, you lift the gun up a little bit, untab it from here, and this whole assembly splits in half. The gun can extend up and out. The gun pod, move this armor. This piece comes up a little bit. This piece extends out over here and then opens up into like a sensor array of some sort. There's a little tab here that you can use to pop this piece, green piece, out. So yeah, so instead of being just one solid chunk, now it becomes like an extra weapons platform. Here on the back of the jet, or back to the, I guess, the Gearwalk mode now, and as well as in Guardian or Batroid mode. One day I'm going to get all that straight without messing it up, and this should all stay together. So yeah, but there he is. There we go, now it's all pinned. So there is the Gearwalk mode. It's a pretty solid Gearwalk mode. You can take the gun pod out and have him hold it. We'll do that when we get fully to Batroid mode. This is where it gets a little tricky. Mostly in the head area. Getting the head up. But the instructions are actually very clear about where everything goes, which is nice. And we're there. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we will rotate that nose cone down. Like that. Go ahead and unhook the legs here. This piece comes up. You want to lift these two side panels up. Make sure they're open up so the head can come through. And the head panel, you got to get under here. And this is where it's kind of hard to see. This piece comes back, comes forward. This piece flips all the way forward. This is going to fold up and plug up into here like this. It's going to go in further than that, but for right now, that's where it's going to go. These pieces right here need to fold down. Like that. You bring this back. This piece has to go, as we do this, you got to bring the head up through here. But while you're doing that, this piece also has to slide back, and this piece under here has to flip out. It's much smoother when you're not doing this at arm's length on camera. So flip this little panel out. This piece has to come up, but it also has to go back here without popping the head off, which also likes to happen. And hey, we did it. So just like that. Which brings the head up. You can go ahead and close these back up. Now the whole neck assembly is up, and you can turn the head around. This piece comes over. Now this piece right here opens up. Okay, come here. There we go. This piece right here comes up and down like that. This unsnaps from back here. This rotates up. And then right here, there's a couple connecting tabs. You want to flip these out. These are going to actually latch this thing together. That's super nice. Didn't have those before. So you fold this down, into here like this. This whole assembly comes over. This panel goes in front of the cockpit. And then those little tabs lock into place under here to hold this whole assembly together. This folds back. This sits up here. This whole assembly folds down onto the back, and this actually ends up snapping around the back of the cockpit here to lock it in place. Rotate the waist forward. Straighten the legs back up. Collapse them a little bit. There's a midway point between jet and gearwalk. You can collapse the foot up as well. You can collapse the legs entirely. It makes it a little more stable. And yeah, you see here those ratcheting hips. Oh, they used to just be on ball joints, and it was, you could nail polish them, but man, they would never really super solid. So to have these ratcheting hips here on this guy is really nice. All right. Oh, see, like I said, these do like to pop off those little ball joints all the time. All right, there we go. Make sure the legs are the same length. That helps. All fully collapsed and back and such. Straighten up his head. Don't worry, I'm going to bring the camera up. Hang on, I'm just... So yeah, this whole assembly comes up further and sits on his back. You fold these panels all up, fold the fins up. These just kind of sit on his backpack. He does have a bit of a backpack, but it looks like wings, so that's cool. Something is still off on his leg. I'm not sure what, because he wanted to lean to the right. There we go. So yeah, you can have this coming up over his shoulder, have his arms. You can bring the, you can push the arms back in too as well. You can still deploy the underarm machine guns. You can hold the knives if you want to flip one of those out from his arm panels. And like I said, the gun pod comes off, just attaches from back here. So he still has the kind of sensor array backpack thingy going on. And then now he's got his gun pod, which is all expanded out. And then you slide this piece forward to expose the trigger here. You can kind of get this hand to hold it, but you really don't want to. So you go ahead and pop that off. And you've got a whole, like I said, you've got a whole bunch of different hands for each side. You've got these, which are the best. Well, let's see, you got the standard fists, one for each side. Go ahead and put one of the standard fists over on this side, just to show you. And it's real easy. You just pop the ball joint out, pop it. Real simple. So you've got some open palm hands like this for each side. The transformational hands that you have to turn back into jet mode. None of the other ones will fit. The Frontier Valkyries all came with karate chop hands. You've got karate chop hands like this, these flat hands like this. They all came. The fingers aren't posable. This is what the Frontier Valks came with installed, and then you could install the transformable hands that actually had the posable index finger as well, and you could still make those work with the I think they had a slight curve to them, but you can still make those work and fit under the shield in fighter mode on the Frontier ones. Here you need these transformable hands. Really, I mean, maybe I haven't tried using the karate chop ones, but unfortunately they're just not as posable, and like they don't hold the gun as well or anything. So you kind of have to swap hands out on this one, which is a minor annoyance. It's not the end of the world. It's just, it would have been nice if there was a set of hands that could grip things and still fold up and transform into the jet mode without having to swap it. But you know, whatever. So yeah, and then you've got the fist, like I said, and then you've got a couple of fists like this with the open hand. These are for the knives. You can see through them there. The gun, you can't get it to hold the gun because the finger won't fit through the trigger. And if that finger gets in the way, and you can't have it hold it like this because it won't close up all the way. And you'll see what I mean in a second, because this piece opens up to fit through a hand, and it won't close all the way with that finger in the way of the trigger guard. And then you've got two different sets of hands. Either side can hold the gun. It's got a pointer finger, and that finger gets out of the way so he can hold the gun. The difference, but you've got two sets of hands like this, and the difference is you can see. I hope you can see. Let me see if I can get there here. One hand, the ball joint comes straight back out of the hand, and on this one you can see it angles downward a little bit, and it's the same on this one. This one, there's the angled down ball joint versus the straight out of the back of the hand ball joint. Just for different poses when holding the gun. Because it does have this little divot, if you want him to have it hold it over his forearm, you kind of want to use this one with that downward divot. So then it points down a little bit, but it lifts this up a little bit so it's not colliding with the side of the forearm. Anyway, but how these work is you basically have to open up this piece of the gun and slide the grip up through his hand like that, and then plug it back into the gun. And here's what I'm saying. With the finger out of the way here, you can plug this up all the way into the gun. If the finger were closed around the way, it would hit this trigger guard, and it would make it a lot harder, or it wouldn't close at all. So yeah, but you can do that, and then you attach it. You can do it while the hand's attached, but it's way easier to do it before you attach it. And then you can hold his gun pod like that. So yeah, really nice. Looking forward to the rest of these guys. I want one of the SV's 262s as well. Like I've got Keith's secured for when it comes out, and I've got Messer's 31F. I definitely want Commander Mulder's the 31S, which means I'll probably end up getting the C and the E as well, because you might as well just have all 5 of them if you've got 3 of them. Because I kind of want Mirage's jet. I want, don't mind Chuck's jet. I really like the color scheme and the head on the cranial unit on the S, so I'll have to get that one. That one also has the skull logo on the back of it, which I've always been a big fan of. So yeah, posability wise, he's got a ball joint here at the head, and because it's such a uniquely sculpted head and neck, okay, so it does pop off without too much effort, but it lets you get a decent amount of posability out of the head and neck there. Get this back on. Go on. That's the other problem with popping this head off. Like, if you ever had the 25F or 25S from Frontier, especially if you had one of the non-renewal versions, his head was a pain in the butt too. Come on, go on. There we go. So you've got that. Swivels at the elbow, or at the shoulder, as well as the swivel here, and then the transformation joint behind there. You can move these flaps a little bit. It does have a bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows, so you got a pretty decent range of motion in the arms. You said you got the wrist swivel, as well as you can have the posable fingers if you have those hands attached. The rotatable machine guns. He does have a waist swivel, which is cool even with all that. Again, the ratcheting hips, both front to back and side to side. Some of these are more for Gerwalk mode, but you've got the joint there. There is, if you extend this, there is a swivel joint there right above the knee. Decent articulation in the knee as well. The kneecaps flip up. And then the feet, like I said, you've got the closing and opening. And again, if you extend those, you've got like a ball joint there in the foot, front to back, side to side, ankle tilt. So all in all, there's a lot of articulation available to you on this mold, but just really solid. It really takes the YF-30 design and refines it and makes it cooler. The ratcheting hips are a huge boon, something that has been, I think, I don't know if I want to say anticipated, but definitely would have improved the Macross Frontier, the 25s, by a lot. So it's nice to see it finally get implemented here on the 31. But yeah, nice slick robot mode, lots of fun, very cool looking toy. The Bandai DX Chogokin VF-31J, Hayate Immelman's Messiah, or not Messiah, Siegfried is what the the code is for Macross Delta, but from Macross Delta. It's a good, solid Valk. I'm looking forward to the rest of them.